You know Dreame, the company that makes robot vacuums, robot mowers, and just about everything else? Well, they just released their first smart lock. This may be the best budget smart lock for your home. And I think this is also the first smart lock that I've ever seen that has an optional smart door handle that you can pair directly to the lock. So let's check it out. My name is Shane and this channel is all about building a simple and effective smart home with new videos and live streams every week. Now I remember seeing Dreame at the Consumer Electronics Show earlier this year and was blown away by all the different categories that they are getting into. So I was super excited when they reached out and asked if I wanted to check out their first smart lock. Big thanks to Dreame for sponsoring today's video and sending me out their brand new Navo Smart Lock A10. This lock supports the Matter standard, which is great. Matter support means this will work with any smart home ecosystem like Apple Home, Google, Amazon Alexa, Home Assistant, and more. You can connect it using either Thread or Wi-Fi. If you have a smart home already like me, you probably have a Thread board or router in your home, something like an Apple TV or a HomePod. In that case, you can connect this lock to your smart home directly over Thread, which is great. That is my preference. But if you don't have a Thread board or router, you can also just connect this lock to your Wi-Fi network. No additional hubs needed, and you can use the Dreame app to control your lock from anywhere. So this smart lock can really work, I think, for anyone, regardless of your current setup. Now I have both the new smart lock and the smart handle. Very nice packaging. Inside the box, you'll get some documentation and an installation template. This should fit most doors using a standard deadbolt. The lock itself is very solid. It has a high precision zinc alloy housing. It has some nice weight to it. We also have the mounting bracket and the back of the lock. The backside does feel like a lighter weight plastic, which is pretty common in smart locks. We get a rechargeable lithium battery with a USB-C port on it, strike plate kit, and the deadbolt itself. You also get a couple of physical keys and NFC tags included. And of course, we have some mounting hardware. Now that is everything inside the box. Now these days, before I install any new smart locks in my house, I like to test them first for a little while on my little 3D printed rigs. I do this just to make sure everything goes well. You don't want to have your spouse locked out of the house because some new smart lock isn't working right. Don't ask me how I know, but installation for this here is very similar to most smart locks if you've ever done one of these before. First, install the deadbolt. Make sure it is right side up. Attach the wires from the front to the back of the lock and attach the back plate and secure it to the mounting bracket with the two little screws. On your actual door, you will want to make sure your deadbolt can freely move in and out. I'll usually just leave it as is if the deadbolt action is nice and smooth, but if there is any resistance or any issues here, you can install the included strike plate kit onto your door frame. Again, you just want to make sure the deadbolt moves freely in and out of the door frame, and this applies to all smart locks. Once you install the battery, the Dreame app should automatically recognize the new lock. Go through a few prompts to connect the lock to your Wi-Fi network. You'll be asked to add a PIN code. You can add fingerprints and your NFC cards as well. To add the lock to your smart home ecosystem, like Apple Home in my case, you can scan the Matter QR code on the back of the lock's battery cover, and that is it. We're all done with the lock setup, and I now have it working in Apple Home. Next, let's check out the smart door handle. We have another installation template, a warranty card, two sides of the door handle with a mounting bracket. We've got some AAA batteries and some hardware. And then there's the latch. Here is everything in the box. Now I'm going to install this on my other little 3D printed rig just to see how this works. I'll start with the latch. There are some installation videos too, by the way, that you can scan the QR codes and watch just for some extra guidance if you need it. But then we'll go ahead and attach the front of the lock to the mounting bracket on the back, very similar to the actual deadbolt that we just did. Slide the metal bar through the middle of this one and attach the back of the handle to the mounting bracket with your screws. Same with before, you also have a strike plate kit that you can install on your door frame if you need to. Next, we'll just pop off the cover to install the batteries into the actual handle. Then in the Dreame app, you can connect the handle to your smart lock. and you can now simply press the button on the handle to unlock the door. That's pretty cool. Since installation and setup did go smoothly and the lock worked reliably for me for a while, I did test it for a while, I decided to go ahead and put this on my garage door. One thing that's nice is that this does have a built-in gyroscope sensor to detect the door movement. So you can see if the door is open or closed, and you can use that for auto-locking the door if that's something you like to do. With this lock, you do have multiple ways that you can unlock your door. You have a fingerprint scanner, PIN codes, NFC cards, the Dreame app or any connected smart home ecosystem, and of course you have physical keys as well that you can use. You can give access to multiple family members through the user management section in the Dreame app, giving them access to unlock the door using their fingerprints, personal access codes, or NFC tags. You can also create one-time access codes and schedule access codes. This is great for like dog sitters and guests, things like that. You can also use the geofence unlocking feature if you want to automatically unlock the door when you come home. Now this is going to be using Bluetooth to unlock the door automatically, which is your typical geofencing unlocking method that you do see on a lot of smart locks. This is not the same as ultra wideband unlocking or UWB for those who know what that is. This lock does also have a few different modes that might be useful. You might want to check out for certain situations. For example, care mode will monitor the door's activity and send notifications if no unlocking or locking has occurred for several days. So that's pretty cool. This could be useful if you want to install this like at an elderly relative's house or maybe someone who lives alone, just to make sure you know there's some activity there, and if there's not any for a while, you will get a notification, which is pretty cool. Passage mode will basically disable the auto lock temporarily until you manually lock it again. So this is useful if you have gatherings or you plan to be in and out of the door a bunch and you don't want the door to auto lock for a while if you typically use that auto lock feature. There's a couple other modes. You have an away mode. This provides enhanced security that you can utilize if you plan to be away for a while. Do not disturb mode will mute all the sounds so you don't disturb others in your house. Maybe if you're using the door like really late, maybe you work late or something like that. Again, it does support Apple Home or any other smart home ecosystem through Matter, so you can lock and unlock the door in your smart home app. You can use the lock in your smart home scenes and automations alongside your other smart home accessories. Now regarding Apple Home, I did notice that you cannot access the user PIN codes in the Apple Home app like you can with some other smart locks that I've seen. You will need to use the Dreame app to create and manage your passcodes. It also does not support Apple Home Key, which is where you just tap your phone or your Apple Watch to unlock the door. All right, so let's talk about the overall pros and cons of this lock. First of all is the Matter support, which I'm a huge fan of, and Matter over Thread for that matter, which is good. That's a big selling point for me and is why I was convinced to put this lock on my garage door. I can easily add it to multiple smart home ecosystems, including Apple Home, Homey Pro, Home Assistant, or any other ecosystem that I choose. This one has been working very well and reliably for me in my smart home ecosystems, which is very important. I love that I can use it in my smart home scenes and automations and also get those notifications from Apple Home. So what's wrong with it? Again, it does not support Apple Home Key, which might be a deal breaker for some people. For me personally, I don't really mind that too much since there is a fingerprint reader. I actually prefer using a fingerprint reader over Home Key these days anyways. I almost never use Home Key anymore, believe it or not. It also does not support ultra wideband, which is kind of expected, I feel like, at this price point. There are not many locks out there that do support ultra wideband, and if you do get one, you're gonna probably be paying a lot more for your smart lock than for something like this. And while it does support Matter, which is great, it is a bit limited in what is exposed through Matter right now. You don't get to modify those personal access codes through Matter like you can with some locks. And I also noticed that it doesn't show you the battery life through Matter, which is a little bit disappointing. Hopefully they will update that in a future firmware update. I really like that this uses a rechargeable battery. It means you're not going to be going through like AA batteries all the time. Although I do wish there was a way that you could charge it without having to remove the battery from the lock. Dreame says you should get up to 8 months of usage on a single charge, which is not bad. However, when it is time to charge it, You'll have to remove the battery. This means that your smart lock will be unresponsive in your app while it's charging. This could also be solved with a backup battery. And I've reached out to Dreame to see if they plan to sell additional batteries separately. And once I hear back, I'll be sure to update the video description down below, so be sure to check that out. Now, there's also a USB-C port hidden on the front of the lock for emergency power if you do ever forget to charge the battery and it dies on you while you're out. You can use that to quickly gain access into your home, or you can of course use the traditional key since this does support those. I do really like the smart door handle. It makes unlocking the door as you're leaving super easy by just pressing the button to turn the handle, something you're gonna have to use the handle anyway, so that's kind of nice. I would have loved to see them add a fingerprint reader on the outside of the door handle that could connect to the lock and would allow you to open the door in the same manner from the outside. That would have been really nice, maybe a bit of a missed opportunity there. So who is this lock for? Well, if you're someone who wants all the bells and whistles that's available these days, like Apple Home Key or ultra wideband support, then this lock is not for you. But you typically are gonna have to pay more for those features in most cases. If those features aren't important to you and maybe budget is more of a deciding factor, then I think this is probably one of the best budget smart locks around. Matter over Thread is great for working with your smart home ecosystem of choice. The lock is very fast and responsive. That metal design I think is really nice and better than many of the other budget smart locks that I've seen that seem to be just all plastic. It has an IP65 rating and it is BHMA grade B certified. You do still have multiple ways of unlocking your door, including passcodes, NFC cards, traditional keys, geofencing, and of course my favorite is the fingerprint reader. That's probably what I'll be using 99% of the time to unlock the door when I'm not controlling it through my smart home scenes or automations. And also the fact that it can work entirely over Wi-Fi means it's also gonna be a great lock for anyone. So you don't have to have a smart home setup or a Thread border router in your house to use something like this if you don't want to. So that means this could even be a great lock for like your mom or your grandma. And let's not forget about that smart door handle. That is a really nice touch and I like how nicely it matches the lock. It's another reason I did decide to install this on my garage door, is just because I think it looks really nice. Again, I do really wish they had put a fingerprint reader on the door handle also. That would have really made this thing next level. All in all, I think it's a good smart lock that can serve most people's needs. It's built well and it's been very reliable for me using it in multiple smart home ecosystems. Paired with that smart handle, it's been perfect for my garage door here at my house. As long as you don't mind skipping the ultra wideband or Apple Home Key support, then I think this lock is as good or better than anything else you'll find for the price. If you're interested in picking one up for yourself, you can purchase the lock now for $179.99 and the smart handle for $49.99. On Amazon, they have a 10% off discount right now, and Dreame has given me an exclusive discount code just for you, my audience, that will save you an extra 30% off, bringing the price for the lock down to just $118.99 and the smart handle to $34.99. So you can get them both right now for under $155. Check out the video description below for links and that discount code. And if you're into smart home tech and you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to smash that subscribe button so you don't miss new videos and live streams all about building a smart home right here every week. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.